With all but one team entering the offseason, we can just about tie a bow on the 2016 high school football season. But online host Erik Threet II joins me now to talk about the leaders this season.
The whole time I was compiling these stats, I was thinking about fantasy football. Who was going to be in my lineup this week? We had a lot of dual threat quarterbacks, 1,000-yard rushers, 20 touchdown seasons. My team would have been set regardless of who I picked up. But let's start with the wide receivers. Leading the receivers in touchdown receptions is Jacob Hardy. He had 14 receptions for 15 total touchdowns on the season. Up in Duncan Falls, Jacob Moeller scored 15 touchdowns 4 different ways. He caught 8, rushed for 5, threw for 1, and he turned a punt return into 6 points. Trey Craycraft, the first 1,000-yard receiver in River Valley's history, but Trey Ivy had 1 touchdown every 2.5 catches. Trace Albin and Robert Dickelman, both coming back, both had 11 touchdowns on the season for Athens, and Zach Bartram had a quarterback change midway through the season, still managed to put up 9 touchdowns. 4 of those came on the ground, but it didn't compare to the 22 Travis J. John scored this year. Wellston, Waterford, and Jackson all have 2 running backs in the top 10 this year. Tyler McCutcheon and Braden Belleville are the only ones that are left in the postseason. Johnny Sheets led our coverage in rushing yards and plowed for 17 touchdowns, and Player of the Year finalist Alex Mount rounds out the top 10 with 15 touchdowns. 3 of our other 4 finalists are in the top 10 in passing touchdowns. Justin Harvey led our coverage with 24, Clay had 20, Isaac had 18. We'll talk about the Dupster in a second. Blake and Johnny, God, they got so much love this year, but what about Bryce Hall? A strong 21 touchdowns through the air. Brendan Sano, 20 touchdowns, 1 interception. I'm going to leave that there. Gary Brooks, the only member of this list not to throw for 1,000 yards, but was still able to pump out 17 touchdowns and he won a playoff game as a sophomore. But speaking of young bucks, let's talk about junior Nayland Yates. He will be the only person returning from the top 6 of the total touchdown leaders this year. Clay Edler had 39 touchdowns, leading Unioto to their first ever postseason berth. Now we get to talk about the Dupster. He tied Travis J. John for the most rushing touchdowns in our coverage this year while scoring every way you can on offense. Justin Harvey, he's probably somewhere in the studio smiling. He happily delivered the most touchdown passes in our coverage. Hunter Edwards, like Mr. Alex Mount, played a big role in Nelsonville York's success this year, scoring on offense, defense, and special teams. And last but not least, Isaac Huffman, the quarterback of the winningest team in our coverage this year. When he took over as quarterback for Waterford his freshman year, the Wildcats were 2-8, and now they have a chance to become regional champions.
Well, we'll see if they do tomorrow. But Erik, thanks so much for bringing so much fun and flavor to the season. But what's next for you?
What's next? I'm taking over. This is all me. This is my desk now. I am the host of Hardwood Heroes. I'm so excited, but with all seriousness, thank you for your great leadership. I have a high ceiling to reach. You were a great host this year. I have to top Sean, what he did last year. His promo, he threw the ball over his head 2 times and made it both. Sean's not even a baller. Sean, I didn't understand.
You're a baller.
Of course I'm a baller. You know how I do, but I'm very excited. Tomorrow you can look for us. We'll be out there at Vinton County for the girls' preseason tournament. It starts at 10 o'clock, but we'll be out there about 2:45, and I'm very excited.
Well, I'm excited for you. Can't wait to watch, Erik.